Today I'm going to review a game I came across recently. This game is called Pocky and Rocky. Now, I'm sure many modern gamers grew up with the Xbox 360 and the PS3 are probably aware of what a Super Nintendo is, but have probably never played or even heard of Pocky and Rocky. But that's okay, because now after this review I'm sure you'll want to get a hold of this game. I'm going to give you a little history behind the game and what type of the game it is, so here we go. The game over in Japan was called Kiki Kai Kai, Nazo no Kiro Manto. I hope I said that right, but this translates to Mysterious Ghost World, Riddle of the Black Mantle. The style of the game is a scrolling shooter with action elements. I'll get into the controls later and how it plays. The game was released in Japan of 1992, while North America and Europe got it in 1993. This game is actually the sequel to the 1986 arcade game Kiki Kai Kai in Japan, but was unofficially released in North America as Night Boy. It follows the continued adventures of a young Shinto shrine maiden named Pocky, known in Japan as Seio-chan, I think it is, and her new companion, Rocky the Tanuki, or raccoon, known in Japan as Manike. I wonder why PETA hasn't done anything about that, considering we're talking about Tanukis. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Now let's continue on to the story of the game, but I will say this, before I go any further, I read the story up on the internets to give you a better understanding of it rather than through cutscenes. The story may be present in the manual, but, I don't have it, so here we go. Set in feudal Japan, Pocky and Rocky has the player assume the role of a young girl who, while tending to a shrine one night, is visited by Rocky, a tanuki, a member of a group of the yokai known as the Nopino Goblins, all of whom have recently been driven insane by an unknown force. Together, Pocky and Rocky must travel through several levels consisting of various ancient Japanese locales, while battling a number of creatures from popular Japanese myth, including kappas, obake, or obake, and yori. I'll put the text in there as well. Eventually, they must breach the stronghold of the mysterious Black Mantle, who has been using these monsters, collectively referred as to Gorgonzola Goblins, to fulfill his evil deeds. Whichever character the player chooses will make no difference in the outcome of the story. The music of the game is rather nice. Most of the musical pieces in this game are quite good and still hold up to today. Well, the background music for Pocky and Rocky was composed by Hiroyuki Iwatsuki, as well, I told you before, an in-house Natsume composer who utilized traditional Japanese music with an electronic beat. The controls of the game now, we're going to go into that. You use the D-pad to move, duh, and you can move in all 8 directions, but honestly, I would try getting a Super NES advantage for this since it seems more of an arcade game rather than a typical SNES game. You use the Y button to shoot projectiles. If you're a Pocky, you shoot cards. I don't see how cards can hurt you, but I call them credit cards because if your credit is bad, it will hurt you financially and literally in this game. Rocky throws leaves, but I'm not sure how they hurt you, but okay. The B button is really useful as well. You can use it to block aim projectiles. And after the first boss, after you defeat him, you can use its attack to break the basket open to get some goodies. The A button is the same as the Y button, but you have to keep tapping the button. Who wants to do that? The X button allows you to dive in any direction you're moving in. This is really useful for dodging enemies who charge at you, the projectiles, but it's also fun to use when you have a friend along just to fuck with them. The L and R buttons are extremely useful as well. Using these buttons allow you to do your special attack, and it can be pretty useful, and it rates bosses. But be careful, you only have a few of these depending on the difficulty. Actually, if you're new to this game, start it on easy by switching it in the options menu because this game is rather difficult. As for the start and select buttons, seriously? Start pauses the game and select isn't even used at all. Graphically speaking, this game does look nice. Just as good as Magic Knight Wraith on the Saturn, that looks great as well. Well, now we come to the point where I pretty much went over the controls and, a little history behind the game. But what you really came to this review for was the gameplay. Now, I'm going to show you some gameplay of the first level or so. I'm going to show you the controls, how it works pretty much. Yeah, it'll be freaking cool. Then you'll really be convinced you want this game. Here we go! Alright, let's take a look at Pocky and Rocky gameplay. As you can see from the presentation, it looks really nice, but let's first go through the options. Now here you can change the mode, music, sound effects, and then sound and key configuration. You want to change it to easy. Trust me. It's pretty brutal. I mean, it's easy on the first level, but it's pretty brutal later on. Trust me on that. Really brutal. So you can pick between two characters, Pocky and Rocky. Well, I'll just pick Pocky because...
Alright, let's start hard to... I call it. Always have a little opening every time you start a level. Or at least the first one. You can control the character in all 8 directions with the D-pad. Like I said, you might want a super advantage. Y shoots repeatedly, B shoots it individually. I didn't mention this, but there are 2 types of power-ups. One is to upgrade your normal weapon, then this one, which allows you to shoot fireballs. And if you get the same power-up twice in a row, or actually maximum of 3 times, you can get stronger and stronger. Now be warned, if you grab the other power-up, you get it back to your main weapon, such as these credit cards. Ha ha ha. I use the mechanic there, and it can also be used really to get past bosses, not get past it, but more like them and stuff. Also, it can be used to fuck with. What? Okay. Now, let's see at this boss here. I am your adversary. Now, I don't really care much about this story, to be honest with you. Here is the diving mechanic at its, like, finest to dodge this, whatever it is, from its rolling attacks. I wonder where its legs go, and arms. Now, sadly, I don't get to show off, like, the full power of the, mash the B button, to, block, like, enemy projectiles here, like you're usually supposed to. But, you know, what you gonna do about it? At least enjoy some of the gameplay until some of the major parts come in. Now, we should probably show off the R and L buttons. This pretty much will rape bosses, just like that. At the end of the bosses, hit the B button, hit one of those, like, floating objects. You'll get 1 up. You'll need them. So in the end, this is a great game that any Super Nintendo owner must have in their collection. Well, I have to thank my cousin for showing me this game, otherwise I would have never known about it. So would I recommend this game? Of fucking course I would. It's such a great game. I mean, it's difficult as all hell. I mean, use the Game Genie if you're having that much trouble. In terms of rating, I'm not going to give this one a rating. I mean, the review speaks for itself. Anyway, I am Alex. I'm actually going to upload this on both my channels, so one channel gets a little bit more attention than the other one, you know, just for both sets to have it on there. Anyway, it's kind of confusing to say. I'm Alex. Hope you enjoyed the review. See you later.